First introduced in 1964, the Mustang is one of the oldest vehicles in the Ford assembly. While still being produced, it has outlasted several vehicles built before and after it. With its muscle car pedigree and nostalgia-inducing past, the Mustang enjoys widespread popularity among young and old American motorists. But how are these automobiles actually made? Let's look at a Mustang's birth process from scratch. Ford Mustangs start their lives at the Flat Rock facility in Michigan, United States, but that is for the non-electric versions. The Ford Mustangs Mach-Es, the electric ones that are sold in the United States, are produced in Mexico at the Cuautitlán facility. For this vehicle, however, we will omit the Mustang EVs altogether. Coming back to the facility in Michigan, this plant has been supplying consumers with new and shiny Mustangs since 1972. It makes Mustangs for export to a staggering 110 countries. Also, both the right and left-handed variants, driven all over the world, are made here. At its opening, it was way ahead of its time in terms of technology. And even to this day, almost 4 decades later, it is still running and serving the purpose it was made for. The first step in the production of any car is all-important stamping. The same is true for the Ford Mustang as well. Stamping generally is defined as placing a flat metal sheet in either coil or blank form into a stamping press. This process for the Mustang starts with 20-ton coils of rigid steel. The type of steel depends on the structure it would be used to make. Regardless of the type, however, the coils are opened and made into sheets. The sheets that would later be shaped using giant presses, which this factory has 5 of. The presses contain dies inside them. The dies are the templates into which the steel is forced, and when it comes out, it has the shape of the part it is to be made into. The major parts of a vehicle, like the hood, trunk, and doors, are created in this way. Once stamped, the parts of the Mustang go to the next stop in the assembly line, the body shop. The most advanced automation can be found in the body shop section in the factory. It uses more than 1,000 robots to place and install components, apply caulk, and carry out operations. Mustangs are not easy to produce. Each body requires more than 3,000 welds on each of the components. This is way too large of a number for humans, thus, the abundance of robots is pretty much justified here. But it was not always like this. In 2013, the Ford Motor Company invested an additional $555 million into Flat Rock. This brought in some major changes. The most prominent one is that now, more than 1,000 robots work in the assembling plant. This step proved very fruitful for the company in the long run. The latest robotics and machinery make it possible for increased freedom of movement, and Body Shop is now seeing higher levels of efficiency than ever before. The Flat Rock can produce more than 70 units each hour. After the car passes through the body shop, a stone is rubbed across the surface of the outer sheet metal to check for any dirt or tiny contortions along the surface. If the part fails the test, it is sent back. But if it passes the quality check, it is transported further up the line. Next up is the installation line. Here, the car is made into a single unit. The fenders, doors, and hood are joined together, forming a single and large unit that we call a complete car. However, all this is done before the car is painted. Once the installation process completes, the paint is applied to the vehicle. Afterward, surprisingly, the doors of the vehicle are removed again. In the assembly line, the components of the car are installed. This includes the circuitry, the amenities, and generally everything that covers the metallic chassis. The assembly line can even tilt the cars, allowing for easier installation of things like brakes or AC units. The final step in manufacturing is the decking. The engine and the vehicle's body are united for the first time in this procedure, which is performed on the engine decking line. This line is unique among all assembly facilities. Instead of pulling the vehicle down onto the engine and axle, the Flat Rock assembly brings the engine up into the vehicle's body as it hangs from above. While the front suspension, transmission, and engine are all installed together as one unit, the rear suspension is put on separately. After the decking, a single vehicle is produced that can run. When first powered on, the vehicle is taken for alignment at the other end of the facility. And then, finally, after every other step, the vehicle receives a complete inspection service. This includes everything from the headlight leaks to the build quality. After watching everything, we see that during the complicated assembly process, thousands of parts and thousands of people come together to produce every single unit of the Mustang that will hit the road. This brings us to the end of this video. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing and sharing so we can keep bringing more content like this. Also, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time!